Or part of it, we'd have enough more information from that study to use it to help us make a better decision.
Yeah, and we Mr. Nagstakis? We have.
You can all Google it and look it up yourself. The science or engineering science of operation research is an optimization model. It's a model that looks at the optimal way of putting services together to best serve your customers or your citizens or your residents. And the way that model works, I mean,
the detailed plans would incorporate every suggestion that's put forth by every legislator. An additional 4 months creates a hardship for my constituents, merchants in the village of Goshen, when the issues that Mr. Amo has brought forward can be addressed during the study phase and the implementation as specified in this resolution. I see no reason to table this and not act on this today. I see that this motion is just a time lag and a delay for the inevitable. We're either going to move it forward or we're not going to. And I oppose laying this on the table for 4 months.
Diana's proposal be defeated would be to table it and try to perhaps change it. I guess that in some ways it's a step forward, but I'd rather have the clarity of the issue of voting down the proposal as presented, because it's too costly. I think that Mr. Diana did not make a compelling case. I'm not convinced. I think that there's office space, for instance, between 30 and 40,000 feet of office space in the county building in Middletown. Part of the plan was to move those offices to the newly constructed building here.
The 4 months rather than defeating it. People's information can be taken into consideration. Their ideas can be taken into consideration during that period of time. And hopefully, rather than just going head to head and going
out of work, jobs, we have to put people to work, and the concern about Goshen. And I'm just saying, how much longer do you want to keep putting things off? I think even if it was voted today, it's going to be a new page, and you're going to be starting to maybe work things out anyway. Thank you.
Months. We need to do something. That thing's been sitting vacant since last September. How much longer do we want to do it? 4 months, and then in 4 months we put it back on the table. I want an in-depth study of what color stone we're going to put along the walkway. Let's do that for another 6 months. We either get this thing on, moving forward, or we sit down at the table without this and say, what are we going to do that 14 people in this legislature could agree on? I oppose running away from our problem and our duties for 4 months. Vote no.
The village of Goshen, and the village of Goshen is in dire need for action. And while I am prepared to vote for this particular resolution, in voting for that resolution, it is my understanding we probably don't have the votes, and as Mr. Simmons says, we don't have the votes to renovate either. We need to take action. If tabling this resolution allows us time for one additional study that will take a careful look at the numbers that we're talking about moving forward, odds are that the bond resolution will still remain at 14.6. But we've got to come to some kind of understanding. And I agree with Mr. Pahookie, however, the way I'm getting there is a little different avenue. And I think that we owe it to not only the residents of the village of Goshen, but all of the Orange County taxpayers. Because if we continue with this vein and at a stalemate, nothing will happen, and that building will just deteriorate to the ground.
Is the compromise to renovate the existing building and to build new. Do both and satisfy the needs of the county.
12 to build new, and there's only about 5 or 6 legislators that are in favor of renovating that building. So the votes aren't there to renovate. So even if we vote on this resolution today, we are in no way in hell going to fast track this project.
It's not gonna happen. Whether we come back next month with a proposal to renovate, it's not gonna pass next month. So if in the 4 months, we can come to some kind of compromise, maybe that's the way to go. I mean, whether it's a hybrid of both, I don't know. I don't know if that's the answer. I don't, but it's not gonna fast track by voting here today. And I will vote for it today because I think it's the way to go. I think it's a fiscally responsible way to go.
I agree with some of my colleagues who spoke. The votes weren't going to be there as far as we knew. Things change. As soon as we sit down, things can change. I believe we can come to a compromise. I just heard Mr. Turnbull say that we could build new and we could renovate. That's a new concept. And I don't see the problem with having extra time to discuss some of the things that are being put forth today, some of the things that were said in caucus last night, at least my caucus, and have that extra time of up to 4 months or not to exceed 4 months. So I would support the tabling of this motion. Thank you.
Found one legislator that refused to, of this body, that refused to meet with me. None of which is conducive to good government, none of which facilitates sound public policy, all of which produces conflict and inaction, which is the way I found some prefer it. We can do better, we must do better. This additional information, I'm prepared to support the motion to table. Additional information would be helpful, but more importantly, as I suggest and I've tried to do, let's come together as a government body and let's collaborate working together and maybe have one caucus meeting rather than 2 caucus meetings, and not like a football game where we go out in huddles and then come to the line like we are right now and see how we can beat each other up. And let's behave responsibly as the government leaders that we should be. Thank you.
Yes. Benelli? Yes. Brescia? Yes. Buckby?
No.
Berger?
No.
Castricone?
Yes.
Donnery? Ekis?
No.
Hines?
Yes.
Hemnitz? No. Paduk?
No.
Pahookie?
No.
Simmons?
Yes.
Smith?
Yes.
Turnbull?
No.
Hillmeyer?
Yes.
Eleven ayes and noes. On resolution fails.
Number 2, please.